Hi, my name is Sara Vaezy. I am the Chief Strategy and Digital Officer at Providence. And Providence is a large integrated delivery network up and down the western United States. We cover 7 states and operate over 50 hospitals, over 1,000 clinics, health plan, high school, university, and all sorts of other things. So we are very much in the position to improve the health status of our communities.
Well, that's kind of the business that Wilvana is in, but I'm not going to talk to you about value-based care today.
Okay.
The sign over my shoulder says you can't do it alone, which is, frankly, it's kind of, actually, one of your chief medical officers was using this very same language about value-based care, but we're talking about that in the context of mentorship today. And I wonder if you could talk to me about what you see as qualities you need in a mentor. What makes a good mentor?
Well, I've had the benefit of having a few exceptional mentors. So this is something that I carry very near and dear to me. I think a couple of things that really have worked for me. Someone who is emotionally vested in you and then does specific tactical, tangible things to advance your development, advance your career trajectory, and sometimes do so in a way that might take them out of the spotlight. So they don't think about themselves. They center the experience around you as an individual. And those are a few of the things that, have helped me in the past when I've had a really great mentor.
To prep for this, I was listening to podcasts about mentorship. But one of the things they were talking about was some of the myths. And one of them was that, like, the more successful, the better the mentor they'll be. And they were kind of poking a hole in that and saying sometimes they don't have the humility that I think you're talking about is needed there. How has this worked in your favor?
So actually, I'll speak from my most recent experience and very personal experience. When I joined Providence, I've been with the organization for almost 8 years. And I was actually hired in under a position called a technical advisor by my former boss and the former chief digital officer at Providence, a gentleman named Aaron Martin. And Aaron had come from Amazon. And had the technical advisor is a concept at Amazon that is sort of well established, and it's basically a position that is for someone who is up and coming in their career. They have high potential, and they get formally mentored by the person for whom they are a technical advisor. And they get exposure to mission critical work. They get exposure to leaders at all levels of the organization. So, sometimes folks get kind of buried in an organization. And in this particular instance, Aaron was obviously a very senior leader in the organization, very accomplished, but also had the orientation around what someone else might need. So what it actually ended up amounting to was not just mentorship. It wasn't just like a listening ear or someone who provided advice, but an actual formal sponsorship and a sort of joint accountability almost, and joint it was like a collaboration around my career. So that worked incredibly well. I mean, first of all, the mission critical work helped from an extremely, steep learning curve. And granted, I needed to have the sort of wherewithal to be able to grab that and do something with it. But extremely steep learning curve, got a lot of, the first week, I think day 2 of being on the job, I sat in a meeting with our CEO, Rod Hochman, who, that doesn't happen for everybody. And so a lot of it was just being afforded things that are really special and really opportunity creating. And a lot of, it's it's fortunate, right place, right time in many cases, but in many ways for myself, it was right place, right time. But that was, just something that probably advanced my career by 20 years.
And is this because Providence has this formal kind of mentorship program, or it just turned out that way, that because he'd had his experience, he treated you as this mentor?
In that particular case, There wasn't a formal program like that. That was something that he brought and wanted to sort of have for his own team and for someone that he thought would be able to help his team and that he could be able to help in turn. It was sort of like it was like a very like community-oriented almost activity.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds, though, that he was able to avoid just using this as a way to help, kind of a self-serving way, that he has a protege that can do the work for him or something. Or
yeah, I mean, it benefited all people, right? It was really like a mutually beneficial work. Like he said, for instance, in healthcare, we're trying to do 10 years of work in 5 years. We've got to do a lot of market development. We've got to do a lot of thought leadership. And there's no way one person can do that on their own. And so he really saw it as an opportunity to influence me as an individual, support my career as an individual, but also use that as a way to sort of have light spread throughout the entire industry in a more scaled way.
How has that experience informed how you operate as a mentor?
What's interesting about it is that I think I'm not a very good mentor. And the main reason for that is being a good mentor is really hard. And I think that's part of my own leadership journey that I'm still in its early stages. One of the things I'll say I really struggle with, I make myself available as a mentor, but I struggle with doing a good job when someone doesn't have an agenda for me. So if someone's not like, here are my objectives when I work with a mentor, I really struggle with that. I really like to work with folks who have a point of view, and creating that point of view is very difficult for me. I think that's a personal journey that folks need to go on. So I would say, I'm still learning, and I'm not a great mentor unless someone sort of takes that initiative and takes the first initial steps. But not everybody's in a position to do that, and it's somewhat of an unfair expectation of me.
Well, and you're saying that if it's an ambiguous relationship where you're like, I'm not exactly sure where I'm helping you to,
exactly,
that gets complicated.
Exactly. And that was one thing, actually, where I think these formal programs, like this technical advisor setup that we had, are helpful in that there were parameters and guardrails kind of set up. So, for instance, when I joined, I was told, this is a temporary position. You've got about 18 to 24 months to do a set of things, and then at the sort of at the right time within that time frame, you'll move on to a different role, and that role will look a specific way or will sort of meet the needs of the organization. And so those guardrails actually really helped me, because what it allowed me to do during that time was I had my eyes and ears open for what the organization needed the entire time. And so I actually transitioned into a different role just about a year after I started the technical advisor. So I was like looking for jobs to be done, looking for gaps, looking for things that we just hadn't gotten to yet, and stepped into those as a result of that. So like that kind of thinking at the outset helped me a lot.
Last thing, lightning round question, which is, what would you say to somebody who just thinks, I can make my own way here, I don't need a mentor?
If you think that way, then mentorship's probably not for you. But I could say with confidence that there is a healthy dose of community, right place, right time, individual capability and competency, and sort of organizational readiness. All of those things need to come together for folks. And that community, that mentorship is really, really essential. Like, it's been an essential ingredient for me. You can probably do it, but it might not be as fun. It might not be as well supported, and it might not get you to the same place. So, everyone takes their own path, and I think that's okay too.
Well, Sara Vaezy, Chief Strategy and Digital Officer at Providence, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Wellvana is more than just a smart tech platform. We're a high-touch partner who shoulders the burden of moving physicians, health systems, and payers to value-based care, because you can't do it alone. See what life-changing could look like for you at wellvana.com. Your patients will thank you.